episode of Walk with Jean. Today is a Monday morning. Everybody is trying to go to work. I am not, which is great.
Me neither.
We're going to walk my favorite route near the house, Hampton Park. Hampton Park is pretty much the central park of Charleston. And we live close to this park, which I often feel very blessed. This is a Charleston special. It's called Wheel Jasmine, Confederate Jasmine.
Did you say Will Jasmine?
Yeah, it looks like a wheel. And they always bloom around this season.
What are we talking about today?
Today, I want to discuss the things that I realize about Americans after time. These are the things that make me go, That's how I'm gonna explain it.
Everything makes you go,
That's not true.
That's your catchphrase.
Some things make me go, dang. Okay, it's turning red. Hampton Park is a popular morning walk place. Okay. They're kind of hard, like stiff. I'm going to talk about it in a sort of a chronological way as I arrived here. So, first thing. First thing that I noticed about Americans is that they need to say excuse me when you're only within 5 feet. I realized that the first day when I got to the States, we landed here. Our school bus came to pick us up from the airport, and they took us straight to a Walmart because that's the first day we landed here. We had nothing. We had no beddings, cooking aware, anything, or cars. So they took us to Walmart to buy everything. And I was shopping there, and I noticed a lady saying excuse me when she was like this far away from me. And that's really surprising because in China you bump into each other all the time. Like you literally bump into them. Your arms are next to people's arms and nobody says excuse me. It's like normal. But then they're within that space, they're saying excuse me. That's one thing.
What kind of conclusion do you draw from that?
I think Americans have bigger physical bubbles around them. Physical bubble. But that leads to my second point. I think they have less social bubbles, actually. That is something I know. The second thing, people say hi to each other even when they don't know each other. This is one time I was walking with an American friend. Maybe we were driving, but we were in a neighborhood that's in a small town, and then he just said hi. Like he like did this to a walk.
The white people wave?
I don't know. Maybe it's like this. I don't know. He said hi, and then so I said, oh, do you know him? He said no. I was like, well, no, why do you say hi to him? Because in China, if you don't know someone, you don't do that. you wouldn't just, because if you do that in China, to say hi to someone, they would feel like, oh, do I know you? Did I forget your name? Like, what's going on here?
That sounds like a fun game.
You Moisa? Can I mama? Can I mama? They only have one hand here. Hello. Oh. He's ready to attack. I want to get a pet. Give a mama, just mama one time, okay? But I just want a mama. Give a Moisa. I got a pet.
You got a pet? Hey guys. Oh, damn. You huffing at me? Don't worry.
This is a very trusting community, huh? They let one parent take care of all of them, and the rest of them is hanging out over there.
Yeah, drinking beers.
I have a friend who told me, she says she has nearsighted and she's not wearing glasses. And she, from far away, she always see people but not sure if they know them, but she will keep a general mild smile going by. And then if it is someone that she knows, she will smile bigger. If it's not, she will just keep that smile. So she, yeah, I think it's because America has way less people. And when you see someone, especially in the countryside, not in New York. I'm sure this doesn't happen in New York.
Yeah.
See, proves my point.
That doesn't happen in New York, yeah.
Americans treat food and bev workers kind of equally. I feel like in China, they definitely treat them as a lower class. I realized this in the opposite way, actually. So I was working as a waitress when I was in school, and we were living in a college town, and sometimes there are a big group of Chinese parents, and there's one time I was serving this big group of Chinese parents, and they obviously were treating me like a lower class person. They were like, yeah, give me that, yeah, go. And I was not used to that because I never worked as a waitress in China before, and I just felt like, who the hell do you think you are? And I didn't give them any treatment they were expecting. I was just, oh, okay, sure, here. Like I was treating them equally the same. So the reason, I don't always know the reason. I think it actually doesn't make sense because in China, the waitresses don't get tips. Tipping system is not a thing in China. In America, the popular kids in school are the ones that are most sociable and coolest, quote unquote. Probably in the football team or something, right? Is that how you define it? And the girls are in the cheerleaders? I don't know, but in China, it straight up depends on your grade. The coolest kids in China are the ones with the best grades. I guess they're called nerds, right? Nerds. Yeah, nerds. People's grades are often public. After exam, teacher would say, okay, the first 10 ranking scores, they read the first 10 at least. And sometimes in high school, they're even ranking for the whole class from 1 to 50. Oh, cardinal. Oh, also, this is the wall. This is the jasmine wall.
What's that?
Smells a little bit different than regular jasmine, than traditional jasmine. I learned that you shouldn't say regular. It's traditional. Typically, there are 50 people in a class. That's an average. I think that's a lot bigger than America, right?
It's way bigger than mine.
Yeah.
At one point I was at a school that was like 6 people, 6 kids in a class.
You get special treatment. The teacher will put everyone's grade into a sheet, ranking from first to the last, and put it on the wall. So it's straight up public information. So if you have good grades, then people respect you in the class. What is cool to Americans? It's maybe...
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite. I mean, when I was in school, it was like, you know, the coolest kids were the ones who didn't care about the grades they were getting.
The biggest realization, I had this suspicion before when I watched a movie, Ice Queen or something. It's about a girl who likes ice skating. We'll find out about the movie name, but she is really good at math and physics. There's one time at a party, she's looking at someone swinging on the chandelier, and that person's going to swing by, and she's doing the calculation. Oh, based on the speed and the angle of the chandelier is gonna fall. And then as she said it, the chandelier did fall. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's gonna be praised. But then people were laughing at her. Oh, you're such a nerd. And then they ran away. I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, you should be praising her right now. Like, she knows this before it even happened. Americans really like to be sarcastic. They use sarcasm in their talking a lot. It took me a long time to get used to it. Like I still don't get it a lot of times. I still have to ask people, are you being sarcastic? And they will confirm. And I will say, okay.
That's not what you say. What is it that you say?
I always say, are you sarcasming me?
That's it. That's the one. Yes, Jing, I'm sarcasming you.
So the first time I remember it being funny is that also when I was being a waitress, I was taking off people's empty plate. I just have this set of words that I say. So, are you finished? Are you finished? Before I take it. And then this one lady, she has nothing on her plate, but I was saying it anyway without thinking. And then she said, no, I still have to lick the plate. And then we all laughed, and then I laughed. That's the first time I feel like, sarcasm is kind of fun sometimes. But that's not a thing in China. Nobody talks about the opposite thing, to drag it out the opposite, to make you realize this is ridiculous. Nobody, I think that's how common American sarcastic works. Like they would talk about the obvious wrong. But yeah, that's struggling for me, because sometimes it sounds kind of real. Like, are you being sarcastic or not?
And that must just be like a language thing. Maybe. That must be just like a...
Also, it's a me thing. I'm extra gullible. It's a conscious choice. I choose to believe what people say because on a bigger scale, that's more efficient. I don't have to differentiate if they're lying or not. And sometimes they are, but it's a little cost to pay compared to big picture. I have to suspect everything people say. I don't want to live that way. So it's a conscious decision. If people say, I like you, this is great, I'm gonna believe them. If you say so, I'm gonna believe you. If you're not telling the truth, it's on you to tell me the truth. So that's outside of subject.
That is sick. I wish I could be like that.
So next thing is Americans really care about being funny. Should we go this way?
Whichever way you want to go.
I want to go that way. I want to go that way.
Okay.
I learned that from being in a lot of groups of friends when people are constantly really trying to say funny things. People put heavy weight on being a funny person here. It's like if you're funny, then you're respected, I think. 对不对? That's part of the being cool. If you're funny, then you're cool. But even politicians try to be funny here, right? When they're giving speech sometimes. They try to make a joke. Oh, I recently learned this word called comedy relief. Comedy relief?
Yeah, comedic relief.
Comedic relief. In China's most settings, especially when it's formal settings, nobody try to be funny. It's very serious. Oh, big tree. Let's sit on the tree.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the biggest tree in Charleston.
Whoa.
It's not, but one of, probably. You can take a break. Huh. So yeah, Americans make a big effort to be funny. And it's not like Chinese people don't like funniness. I think everyone enjoys funniness. It's just not in our cultural setting to be on the very important part. But
so that's something you like?
Yes, I think it helps make the whole environment less serious. It helps you take life less seriously and take yourself less seriously, which are both good things. Yeah, because there's not a lot of serious things out there, you know? I don't think so. It's just life. It's a video game. Life is a video game. Kids, life is a video game. Don't take it too seriously. And the money you have is just the coins you have. Yeah, you're gonna have enough. Don't worry. You're gonna run into another block and you bump into it and then the coins are gonna come up. So next thing is about drug use. Regular drugs, not the kind of drugs that's illegal. So
Not the fun kind.
Not the fun kind. So in Chinese people's mind, we don't want to take drugs as long as we don't have to. I feel this myself. When I have pain, when I have cramps or something, most of the times I'll just write it out. I won't take painkillers. Because in China, there's a saying called any medicine has 30% of poison. We try to have as less as side effects as possible. So we try not to take drugs. I also learned this yesterday from a show called 圆桌派. It says for Chinese people, if you take medicine, it kind of confirms that you're sick, that you have a disease. So they would not take medicine to feel like they're not sick. So that's a mentality. And I learned this about Americans, that if they can't sleep, they will take sleeping pills. They have headache, they take painkiller. They just take something immediately to fix the problem. But for Chinese, it's the opposite. We try to avoid as much as possible. Since we were talking about regular drugs, now we're gonna talk about the illegal kind of, can I say that? The not regular
Yes,
drugs.
you can say that, Jake. It's called, the actual term is recreational drugs.
Huh.
It means it's for fun.
Okay, recreational. But anyways, you know, the kind of drugs that's called recreational drugs in Chinese, straight up is called poison items, or poisonous items, including weed. So that's their name. They're not called drugs, and everything is highly illegal. And if a celebrity is ever reported touching it, using it, even just smoking weed, they are forever canceled. And the shows that they were on before, their image will be blurred out or cut out from the scene. There's a big movie, there's one guy that shoot the whole movie, and then he turned out to have drug use. And then that director have to find a different actor to shoot the whole movie again. And then play that movie.
Jeez.
Yeah, so in China, that's like a red line. You can't touch at all. But I feel like here, it's normalized. Even though it's not legal, but it represents it in movies that people are doing it. So when I first got here, I knew a friend who was doing Molly. I was super concerned about that. I was like, oh, you touched poisonous items? And then he showed me a website, I think it's called OWL or something. It's showing me effects of a drug, like what makes you feel, and the level of it, and the side effects, and how much is normal. I'm like, oh, there's this kind of website here. Like you can find out information about drugs. That's never heard of. So
that's a really OG website, by the way. That's like Web 1.0. That site's been around for a long time.
There are other things that are cultural shocks, but not about people, specifically about things. Things like popcorns are salty here. Popcorns are normally sweet in China.
Oh.
And
in the States, we call that kettle corn. Kettle corn is specifically the kind that's like usually sweet and salty still.
But also, things are extra sweet here. Most Chinese people, every Chinese person I know who moved here, whenever we taste some cake, we're like, oh my god, this is too sweet. I can't eat this. Like, too sweet. Everything is too sweet. The sweets are too sweet.
What about the ketchup?
I don't eat ketchup. Oh, and another thing, Americans like to use sauce. Like when the first several years when I go to McDonald's to order chicken nuggets, they always ask me, what sauce? I was like, oh, sauce. Ranch, because that's the only one I know. I don't even know what sauces are out there. I just learned that there's a thing that's called ranch, so I said ranch. But then I eventually braved up and decided to stick to my guts. It's like, no sauce. I don't want sauce.
It's a big hero moment
Stick to
for
my
you.
gut, yes. I just eat it because you don't need sauce. It tastes like it has taste already. So that's not a thing in China. There's not much sauce. I think that's everything we're gonna cover today. It's a very peaceful morning, a Monday morning. As you see, nobody is really around. I guess everyone's working. Pretty good, huh?
I guess technically we're working too, huh?
Yeah, we're working. Okay, kids. Thank you for taking the walk with me. We will take more walks in future in different places. Okay, bye-bye. Subscribe, I guess.
I guess.